Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Wrap, brought to you by Michigan Medicine Headlines. I'm Dan Ellman with the Department of Communication.
And I'm Leslie Tron, also with the Department of Communication. Today, we're going to celebrate Nursing Professional Development Week and all of our incredible team members who help strengthen our world-class nursing team.
Now, before we begin that conversation, be sure you go back and get caught up on any of the episodes of The Wrap you may have missed. You can find the shows on your favorite podcast hosting platform and on the Michigan Medicine YouTube channel.
With that, let's bring in Chief Nurse Executive Julie Ishak and Director of Nursing Professional Development and Education, Maria Bobo. Julie and Maria, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Leslie. Nice to be here.
All right, Maria, let's start with you. Could you explain what roles we have here at Michigan Medicine that support our staff with their education and professional development needs?
Yes, at Michigan Medicine, we have two key nursing roles. Our first one is our education and nurse coordinators and our education nurse specialists. Our coordinators, they really support the educational needs at the unit level or the department level. And they ensure targeted training and resources are provided to our nurses so they can give on-point patient care right at the unit level. Our education nurse specialists oversee the centralized training initiatives across the entire organization, and they sit in the professional development education department. But together, we have a dedicated team of over 130 nurse educators, and they're committed to advancing nursing education and making sure we have the highest standards of care within our healthcare system.
What do you believe are the key qualities that make an outstanding nurse educator, and how do you foster those qualities?
I'll try to answer that, Leslie. I think in my experience and in my nursing career, there are a number of qualities that I think are really necessary to be truly a nursing educator. And one of them is that I think you need to have a clinical expertise in the area that you're working in. And I think, many times our team members, they look to these individuals as being their trusted source. So I think having a deep clinical expertise is really important. I think having patience and communication skills. I think we have to recognize that a lot of these individuals, they are responsible for teaching. And I think in any role, when you are a teacher, it requires you to have really strong communication skills, a whole lot of patience. I think also having empathy for what it's like to be a new learner. You have to be someone who really, I think, feels what it was like at that point in your career. And I find that our educators and our team members here have a great deal of that. And then I think another thing that is really important is just the ability to flex. They have to be really adaptable. Like, education needs are constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. You have sort of your kind of everyday education, and then you've got your more acute education that needs to happen either because of a rollout, an event, a change in practice. And so I think having someone who's able to flex between kind of the day-to-day educational needs of our team members with someone who can really flex into a more acute situation. I think those are all the things that really make for a strong educator. And I strongly believe that our team members have all of those qualities.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So I actually want to open this up to both of you and get both of your perspectives on this. What would you say inspires you most about working with our nurse educators across Michigan Medicine?
Yeah, I'll answer that. I think I'm really inspired by their unwavering dedication, not only to their own professional development, but uplifting their colleagues to make sure that we have high quality patient care. Many of our educators are board certified in nursing professional development, and this certification signifies their advanced knowledge in staff development. At Michigan Medicine, we always are curious about the next innovation, bridging the gaps between theory and practice, and the educators are in a great position to help take what they've learned or what they know and bring it into practice. They're really resilient and creative around how we can be better poised in utilizing the latest technologies like simulation or virtual reality. Our educators are usually the ones that are up to date on the trends that are happening, enhancing education in the sense of how to educate better. So they are really on top of it. They are doing their own professional development and getting the skills that they need to have as the healthcare trends are changing, our acuity of our patients are increasing, and our educators are right there on the forefront to make sure we are in step with the changes that are going on around our hospital and around the country.
I think Maria answered that perfectly. I'll add that I think you cannot underestimate sort of how they act as role models to our learners, to our newer nurses. I think when you kind of end up having a great level of expertise about something, you often become somebody that many look to. And so I appreciate the fact that they are really may not be in formal leadership positions, but very much carry an informal leadership title within the organization, and that they themselves are lifelong learners. I appreciate that. And I think that inspires me because sometimes you can get really comfortable where you're at. You think you know what you know, but the rate of change is just so rapid that it inspires me to see people who themselves are constantly learning.
Can you describe a recent initiative or project led by a nurse educator that had a significant impact on nursing staff or patient care?
Yeah, I would love to share one. There's so many because there are so many great things that our educators are doing. But I want to highlight one that occurred in our psychiatric emergency services, or PES as we call it. On one of our recent employee engagement surveys, 82% of our nurses reported that they are frequently experience physical aggression from our patients or family. And of course, we want to make sure we have a safe environment for our staff members. So to respond to this survey and to this really large number of staffs mentioning physical aggression, Michelle Stanley, who is one of our educational nurse coordinators, she worked with the interdisciplinary team to create a training called Situational Awareness for Emergency Responders, or SAFER. You may have heard about the SAFER class. And so she created this class to, again, prepare our nurses and our nursing staff to deal with some of the behaviors that may present in this area. As a result, the training, again, was really geared to that patient population. It was some classroom instruction with hands-on scenarios. And because of the classes that they put all the nursing staff through, there was a 46% reduction in incidents of violence in the PES department. Now, without Michelle's dedication and without Michelle's foresight, without that, our staff may have felt more stress at work, more burnout, and we definitely don't want to lose any of our great nurses. But because of this, our nurses feel safe. They feel that they are getting their needs met. This is a class that happens ongoing now. And we want to just give kudos to Michelle for her efforts in working with not only the nursing staff, but the leadership team, the security department, to create this course that is going to prevent violence and aggression in our psychiatric emergency department. So that is just one of many initiatives that our educators are involved in. And it really takes a collaborative spirit to work with other departments to ensure that we are, again, meeting the needs of our patients, our families, and of course, of our staff members.
Yeah, and I think that training actually leads perfectly into this next question and almost answers part of that next question. But as leaders, Maria and Julie, you can chime in too if you want, but how do you support the well-being and, the growth of all of our nurse educators here, especially considering the challenges of their role?
Yeah, I'll share that because I do, in my role as a director of professional development and education, I work very closely with the educators. And so the first thing I personally do is listen to their needs. Listen to what do they need for their job, because if they do their job well, that means our staff will do their job well. So I listen. I understand sometimes their role can be stressful because our education nurse coordinators, some of them actually take care of patients as well. So they have a dual role. They'll take care of patients some days and then they'll be in their full education role, but they always have this education hat on. So we want to make sure we can provide them with resources like stress management. We encourage a work-life balance. We also have support groups that they can come to and and talk to other educators. We have what is called EDU Forum, which is our education forum that is held once a month. And we talk about hot topics. And a lot of times some of those challenges may come up. And as a collective group, we talk through it together. Also on a personal or professional side, we do support them in getting certified and helping them get to conferences. Actually, Michelle will be presenting at our Magnet conference later this year on the SAFER program. So she'll be presenting at a national conference in front of there's 10,000 nurses that attend this conference. So they're able to share their best practices. We are able to support them to get to that level, to share not only inside of Michigan Medicine, but outside of the great work that they're doing.
Yeah, Maria does a really good job with that. And our leaders who work directly with our educators also do. I think, making sure that we're investing in them so that they can continue learning and growing, whether that's in the way of professional organizations or specialty certifications, is something that I think we're really passionate about. I think also making sure that they have a voice when they see a practice concern that is heard and that is visible within the leadership team of the areas that they serve. So I think that is really important. When we oftentimes, Dr. Hitinder Gurm and I, who's our chief medical officer, and I get to go around and give these awards, 365-day awards, which are for units who've made it 365 days without some sort of hospital-acquired condition, whether that's pressure ulcers or falls, CAUTIs, CLABSIs. And whenever we always ask sort of the same question when we're on those rounds, and we say, how do you go 365 days without an event? And, we know all those days often include, high census, high acuity, perhaps low staffing at times. Like, how do you manage every shift to make that happen? And always the initial answer is teamwork, but then we try to dig in a little bit deeper in what that actually means and how that looks, sort of the lived experience on the unit. And many of our educational nurse coordinators will chime up and be very vocal about things like accountability and holding each other accountable for safe patient care and making sure that the teams have what they need in the way of education. And they are really at the heart of a lot of this really fantastic quality improvement, particularly that we've seen in the last 18 months. And so I want to acknowledge their contribution to that. One thing that I don't want to lose sight of is we do have educators in our ambulatory care site, many of our clinics and procedural areas. I think we have 9 or 10 there, and they are so crucial in developing physician delegated protocols, which if you've worked in ambulatory, that is sort of how nurses often practice in that space. And they not only serve our nursing teams, but they're really involved with our MAs and LPNs. And so, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we've got the skill set across our continuum.
Well, you were just talking about ways you recognize nurses. Are there any specific ways during NPD Celebration Week that you like to recognize and honor those contributions of our nurse educators here at Michigan?
Well, definitely just not once a week or one week of a year that we want to recognize them. But we do want to just pause. We'll pause this week and take the time to thank them for their dedication. Thank them to just showing them that they're valued and knowing that they make a huge difference here at Michigan. We have a week of activities planned for them that are educational as well as some networking, socialization type of events. And we hope they really feel that they make a huge difference. They are, again, the heart and soul behind a lot of our exceptional care, our quality metrics, and the nursing excellence that we have in Michigan Medicine. So I want to personally thank all the nurse educators during NPD week, but all throughout the year for everything that they do.
Absolutely. And I want to thank them too for all the work that they do and making sure that our nursing care from start to finish is, world class and top notch. And I think that is, that shines through every single day, whether you're in an ambulatory clinic or you're on an inpatient unit. Our nurses are incredible, and it's all because of the nurse educators behind the scenes who are helping them get there. Thank you so much, Maria and Julie, for sharing your insight and giving this well-deserved recognition to our nurse educators here at Michigan Medicine. If you want to learn more about Nursing Professional Development Week, go to mmheadlines.org. That's mmheadlines.org.
Okay, it's time for the lightning round when we ask one of our guests 4 quick-fire questions they haven't seen before. Maria, you lost a game of Go Fish before the show, so you're in the hot seat today. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, so now in much the same way that our nurse educators foster professional growth among team members, who is one person you would say has helped foster your growth during your career?
Well, that's a great question. And, it's hard for me to pin down one person, but what I can say is I've had great mentors throughout my nursing career and individuals that at any time I can pick up the phone and ask them the tough questions. The times that I was not sure about my next steps in life, they were right there behind me. So I probably have about 3 in mind that have really fostered my growth. My 29 years as a nurse, they have really pushed me along the way. They've given me the strength to really reach beyond what I could ever imagine in this career of nursing. So I would have to say really 3 great mentors that stand behind me that have fostered my growth.
Football season is in full swing. Are you into football? And if not, are there any sports that you do follow closely?
Oh, wow. I love football. That's a great question. So kind of sad that 2 of my teams did not do well last week, which would have been the Lions did not win against the Green Bay Packers. And I'm a huge Lions fan. Pretty much if I'm not at the game, I have a tailgate at my house. And I usually have a house full of family members and friends, and we do this all football season. So we need a win, Lions. Let's go. And then rooting for Go Blue, rooting for the Wolverines. I need them to pick up this season. Let's get it going. I know they have some games coming up that I hope they'll really be able to blow them out. So I'm a huge football fan. So go Lions and go Blue.
That's right. And it's a long season. So just a rough start is okay. You got a long way to go. All right, here's another fall-related question. Pumpkin spice anything or apple cider? Which one are you going for?
Ooh, that's tough. I think what I'm craving now is some apple spice.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to going to a cider mill and getting some cider, grabbing some apples, maybe even sipping on some apple spice tea. So I'm going to go with apples.
Okay, finally, if you weren't doing what you do here at Michigan Medicine, what would be your dream job?
I would be a travel agent, but not just a travel agent. I would be taking those trips because I love to explore different cultures, different places, learning something new. And what I do with that, and even my friends, they call me all the time. If I go somewhere, they'll say, well, how did you like that country? Or how did you like that hotel? So I would do a combination travel agent, but I would definitely go and experience everything so I can give the best review to my consumers.
So you could be a travel companion, right? You plan the trip, but you also go on the trip with people.
Exactly. I want to be there with you.
I love it.
I feel like she had that really thought out already.
Yeah, she does. This is a whole business model.
She had a whole business model there. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Maria, for playing along and sharing your knowledge during Nursing Professional Development Week. Once again, if you want to learn about NPD Week, go to mmheadlines.org. That's mmheadlines.org.
While you're at Headlines, you'll also see other important stories that ran in recent days, including a look at ways to improve sepsis care in honor of World Sepsis Day on September 13th. Find that story and more at mmheadlines.org.
All right, Leslie. Now, many loyal Wrap viewers may not recognize you because this is your first time on the Wrap. So let's give them a chance to get to know you a little bit. What is your role here at Michigan Medicine, and what have you liked the most about your time here in the organization so far?
Yeah, I'm on the internal communications team. I've been here for a little over a year. So, and I moved up here from Texas with my husband, who is from Michigan, and our 2 sons. So, a lot of new things. It's been a whirlwind over the past year. I'm loving Michigan. I'm loving the weather. I'm loving the seasons. And who knew seasons were such a thing? Like I had no idea coming from Texas. And it's been great here at Michigan Medicine. It's been even better than I thought it was going to be. Like I felt like I just kind of, I came in here and there was so much excitement. There was so much like getting to know everyone. Everyone is so passionate about their jobs. And so getting to tell those stories and helping them feel more engaged with their work and helping them find, the information they need to do their jobs the best that they can. That's really thrilling and honestly, just so much fun for me. So yeah.
And you get to work with me.
Yeah, that's the best.
Right. That's at the top of the list, of course. That's right. All right. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you to Maria and Julie for joining us. And thanks, as always, to all of our listeners and viewers for everything you do for patients, families, and each other. We'll see you next time.